Self-Study and Self-Control by Katherine Tingley, read by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. Self-analysis, self-study, self-control. These are the divine protective power, the golden keys to an understanding of the self. Oh, what you might realize what books of revelation are piled up on the shelves of your own lives. Study the teachings of Theosophy on this subject of duality, and then put your mental house in order. Have a spring cleaning and fit the brain-mind to become the repository of noble and beautiful things, with the warrior, the spiritual self, which is yourself in very truth, standing at the portal. I have no time to write a volume on this subject, though there should be one in every school and home. But under the pressure of the heartache which comes to me when I see one who is fitted to serve the world superbly, yet dominated by some weakness or obsession that is absolutely foreign to the real self, I must say a word here and a word there as I can. Have you meditated on that higher self to which you aspire? This thought and meditation is the first step to an understanding of the real nature of the inner and outer man. It clarifies your whole being, unloading and separating from you much that you have hitherto thought to be yourself, helping you to an understanding of the valuelessness of much that you have hitherto desired and perhaps thought necessary to your welfare or peace of mind, separating the chaff from the wheat in consciousness, conferring added power of insight into human nature and discrimination in your dealings with others. We are too slow in looking at these grave problems in human nature from the practical standpoint, too dilatory in our efforts to study them from analogy. Yet, this is just what we must do if we are to go forward on the path of self-conquest and real helpfulness to others. We may talk about duality all day, but what does it avail if we do not apply our knowledge to the conditions of actual life? It is in the mysterious chambers of the self within the very atoms of the mind that the little weakness, the little untruthfulness or disobedience, the all but unnoticed vice take root and grow, marking the subtle beginnings of an evil that is worse than a crawling, venomous reptile ready to spring at your throat. This is a vivid picture, but we need it to see things as they are. To reconstruct ourselves, we must arouse more faith in the self. The spiritual failure becomes such because we have lost faith in ourselves. That is always the initial step. Then comes the loss of faith in our friends, then in mankind as a whole, and soon we find ourselves living in a strange house, the house of the lower nature. It is an awful spectacle, the decay of a loyal nature. So little a bar seems to keep the poor unhappy mind fluttering through its delusions from finding its own place of peace. But even these cases can help if we study them and learn from them the two keynotes that mark our own duality, one inducing worry, the hot brain, misery, discordant overtones, self-justification, and again self-justification, an eternal harping on that. The other, peace, love, joy, clear vision, and work. No one, thoroughly set in a wrong course, can ever be brought to a realization of that fact by words alone. Why? Because the lower nature is there. It is for the time master of the situation, master in the house of mind, inimical naturally to whatever would enable its victim to learn the truth. We all know that the inner self is true, eternal, strong, pure, compassionate, and just. The outer is too often weak, wavering, selfish. Its energy arises out of desire and ambition. Yet it is the instrument which the soul, the inner, seeks to perfect in compassion. It is in this outer nature, usually physically dominated, that arises the common feeling of I, and it is the blending of this with the real I that evolution tends. Our consciousness is often a strangely self-gullible dual entity. Victories are won first in thought, and the habit of substituting a good thought or picture that arouses compassion or any part of the spiritual nature or a grander idea in any way going beyond the limited selfhood for a selfish or personal or sensual one is easily learned. To touch upon this mute question, so often raised by modern psychology, the question of habit, it is habit that makes or mars the character. But he who knows the dividing line between self-indulgence and self-control has the key to habit and knows how to build aright. I find myself thinking the same thing today that I did yesterday, holding the same ideal, but with each day living closer to it, nearer to the warmth and glow of the real life. Soon, habit is established, the habit of aspiration and self-control, the foundation of character. Were this knowledge universal, there would be open new paths in life. We should have no disharmonies, no war. We should have religion itself, religion that would lead us to see the beauties of nature in a new way, to study humanity in a new way, and to find the virtues of our brothers and cultivate them so understandingly and so generously that in time all hatred would disappear. It is indeed time to think along these lines, for the spirit of hatred has passed so deeply into our natures, sucked in, so to speak, as the rain is sucked into the earth, that it will take no end of spiritual sunshine, no end of spiritual virility and splendid hope to bring us to a higher standard, with its promise of ultimate perfection.